from West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Support for the Legislature Today is provided by the following.
West Virginia University, online at wvu.edu. AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Online at aarp.org/WV. The West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission, working to double the degrees produced annually in our state by 2025 through increased opportunities for West Virginians to earn the credentials today's economy demands. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Online at wvhtf.org.
At the Legislature today, a Senate committee approves a bill to get rid of the permitting requirements to carry a concealed weapon. On the floor, senators also approve a measure to ban a commonly used abortion method. A public hearing in the House focuses on WVU Tech's plan to move its campus to Beckley, and we're joined by two senators from southern West Virginia whose counties are struggling in the wake of the coal industry's downturn. Those stories coming up on the Legislature today. Good evening, I'm Ashton Mara. First, news from the executive this evening as Governor Tomlin announces the veto of another piece of legislation. House Bill 4007 would have codified a policy put in place by Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. It required the state to put out a bid when outside counsel was needed to aid in a lawsuit. The bill also placed caps on legal fees paid to those outside attorneys. In his veto message, Tomlin called the bill too broad, saying, quote, "I support wholeheartedly including procedures in the West Virginia Code to ensure that the state and its offices and agencies receive competent counsel at competitive rates. My issue with the bill is the extent to which it permits, perhaps inadvertently, the Attorney General to ignore a state office or agency client's authority, decisions, and directives in a case. It takes only a simple majority vote of each chamber to override a veto." A Senate committee has spent 2 days considering changes to a bill allowing constitutional carry in West Virginia. That means carrying a concealed weapon like a handgun without a permit. The bill has seen some amendments in the upper chamber since it was approved in the House last week, which may mean a long process before its final passage.
An amendment.
Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee continued discussing amendments to House Bill 4145 today. In its current form, the bill would remove both the permitting and safety training requirements and fees to carry a concealed weapon in the state. It would allow 18 to 21-year-olds to obtain a provisional permit to also carry concealed. The House bill includes increased penalties for people who unlawfully carry a gun or use a weapon to commit a crime. Over 2 days, the Judiciary Committee considered and approved some changes. The committee's new bill removes the $100 tax credit members of the House of Delegates included for people who go through the permitting process after the legal requirement is removed. Wednesday, members considered an amendment presented by Senator Herb Snyder. The change would require anyone carrying a concealed weapon without a permit declare to a law enforcement officer that they had a gun when stopped or detained. Snyder explained the amendment attempts to curb some of the concerns the police community has over the bill.
We've all been contacted by a lot of people on this, but without exception, the law enforcement community, the Sheriff's Association realizes that this bill is probably going to pass. This is the one, with losing the fees and so forth, this is the one single item repeated over and over and over by the contacts from law enforcement that I've had that law enforcement would like to have in the bill.
On a voice vote,
all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. Noes appear to have it. Noes do have it. I declare the amendment to the amendment rejected.
The amendment failed. Senator Mike Romano also attempted to amend the bill, following in the footsteps of 4 of the 5 states that have passed similar constitutional carry bills. The amendment would prohibit carrying guns into private clubs or bars where alcohol is served.
Alcohol and guns do not mix. And I'm looking at my chart here, and 4 of the other 5 states do not allow you to carry a concealed weapon if into an establishment that sells alcohol
Senator Ed Gaunch spoke against the amendment.
It makes no sense to me. I keep reiterating, we have open carry now, we have permitted carry now. All of these rules and amendments that are being offered are not common sense. They're anything I hear about Arkansas, I hear about other states. We ought to be concerned about West Virginia.
Romano's amendment also failed. The bill as amended was approved by the Senate Judiciary Committee and will go to the full Senate for its consideration. Members of the House have already approved the bill, but since senators have made changes, the bill will have to go back to the House for another vote. If delegates do not accept the Senate amendments, the bill will go to a conference committee, which some members say is likely. As members of the legislature move well past the halfway point of this session, floor sessions are becoming more and more full. In the House, members voted on 7 bills today, which were approved without much opposition. The Senate, however, debated a bill banning a commonly used abortion method. Liz McCormick reports.
In the Senate, members considered and voted on a bill to ban what physicians call one of the most commonly used second-trimester abortion procedures in the country. Chair of the Senate Health Committee, Senator Ryan Ferns, explained on the floor the bill outlaws elective dilation and evacuation abortions, commonly referred to as D&D or dismemberment. During a previous health committee meeting, members were told by a practicing obstetrician that while the procedure is not often performed in West Virginia, it is considered to be the safest choice for the mother. Dr. David Jude testified the procedure is most often performed when the fetus has already died or has serious malformations that may cause death. The bill, however, is specific to elective procedures and says if a doctor deems the mother's life to be in jeopardy, the physician can still perform the procedure without first terminating the life of the fetus. Any doctor who does perform the procedure electively, though, could have his or her medical license revoked by the State Board of Medicine. Senator Ron Stollings attempted to amend the bill on the floor by adding another provision to the discipline section.
And what this amendment does is simply allow the Board of Medicine to seek expert opinion with regard to this issue.
That expert opinion would come from the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Chairman Ferns spoke against the amendment, saying the Congress supports the procedure and the amendment would make the ban contained in the bill null and void. Republican Senator Robert Karnes also spoke against the amendment.
This doesn't actually ban the procedure. What it does is it bans the procedure being performed on a live baby. So what we're literally talking about is ripping an unborn child piece by piece out of the womb. And what this says is you can't do it while they're still alive. You have to at least euthanize them first.
Republican Senator Tom Takubo, a pulmonary surgeon, spoke in favor of the amendment.
The concern is there's so much gray area in medicine, and regardless of which side of the fence you are, both sides agree that this is the safest procedure for the mother. Now, the gray area becomes this is to take care of elective cases, and what becomes elective and what becomes emergent can change in a matter of minutes. So what I wouldn't want to do would be to take a prudent physician that's acting in the best interest for their patient and stand in the way of them and maybe perhaps make them or force them into a bad decision which could alternatively affect the mother's life.
The amendment was defeated, however, and members put the bill to a final vote. Senator Stollings stood to speak against it.
So again, having this bill clouds the OBGYN doctor's ability to make a good, clear decision. He may wait for fear of losing his medical license, his or her medical license, and not do the procedure in a timely fashion, in which case then the mother's life is in danger. And sometimes when lives are in danger, it's an emergency situation. And so for the very small numbers of abortions that are performed, and I can see scenarios that could really be impacted by this bill, I'm going to vote no.
Senators voted 24-9 to approve the bill. Republican Senator Takubo joined Democrats in votes against it. The bill now heads to the House for its consideration. Across the rotunda on the House floor, delegates voted on and approved 7 bills, including House Bill 3019. The bill requires that official business and records of the state and its political subdivisions be conducted in English. It's one the West Virginia chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union has spoken out against, saying the bill is divisive and bad for West Virginia's image. Delegates also passed a pipeline safety bill at the request of the governor. House Bill 4323 requires well and pipeline operators report emergency incidents within 15 minutes to the State Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, or face a fine between $2,500 and $50,000. It passed 97-2. House Bill 4347 ensures pregnant women have priority for substance abuse treatment beds in the state. Delegate Don Perdue, a Democrat from Wayne County, says this legislation is just one piece to a much larger puzzle.
We have to recognize that although the bell just rang for the marathon, we have got to finish the race. Otherwise, there's not going to be anybody left at the finish line to cheer.
House Bill 4347 passed 97-2. For the Legislature Today, I'm Liz McCormick at the Capitol.
The Senate Finance Committee continued discussing amendments to the governor's bill to increase the state's tobacco tax this afternoon. Members approved an amendment that commits a portion of the dollars brought in to the state public employee health insurance agency. The agency's funding shortfalls have been at the center of some heated debates, particularly in the House. But this morning, Senate Finance Chair Mike Hall addressed the PEI issues on the floor.
Let's be very clear that the budget has in it $43,487,151 for PIA, plus $24 million of spread across the special revenue accounts of employer contribution. Now, I recognize there is a challenge to funding this $4.3 billion budget. But it doesn't mean, as I would say to somebody, if you had trouble in your household, would you cancel your health insurance first? No. So it would be my intention as the finance chairman that we preserve that line in the budget. And we've been talking to the agencies. If we end up with a situation where we have to cut things, that's not one we have to cut. There's a lot of things in here. Now, they would be painful, but is that the one we would do first? I wouldn't think so. So I just want to make it clear to the public and to the members that the governor has, quote, fixed PIA in the sense that he's put in a budget document. And if we fund the budget, or if we have to cut things out of the budget, I don't think I'm going to go to page 27 first. I think we'll go somewhere else and find other things.
As members of the legislature continue their focus on the 2017 budget, the decline in the state's coal industry will play a major role in the conversation. At the state level, decreased severance tax collections are contributing to the large budget gap, but at the county level, the financial outlook is even more bleak. Here this evening to discuss the outlooks for their counties, Senator Ron Stollings from Boone County and Senator Bill Laird from Fayette County. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
I want to start with the school systems because both of your counties have announced layoffs. In Boone County, they were one of the first to announce those. What's going on there, Senator?
Well, we've had a dramatic decline in tax base in general. We've lost about $4 million. An example would be for coal severance tax, just coal severance tax. In 2012 or thereabouts, we had about $5.8 million. This year, we're going to have less than $1 million. And of course, there's other taxes that impact the school system.
So this comes, your all's layoffs, though, you say are due to a loss of funding and a loss of student population.
In Boone County, we've lost around 280 students over the past 2 years, and that translates into the formula losing about $1.2 million because of the population.
And that's from the state school aid formula, so money that's coming from the state level, from property taxes.
Right. It's a double whammy.
It is. Senator, in Fayette County, those issues are bigger than just funding. Fayette County has major facilities issues. Tell us about what's going on in your county right now.
Again, I think it would be fair to say that we have an educational crisis in Fayette County. We've been an intervention county where the state of West Virginia comes in and assumes control of our county school system. That began in 2010. Since that time, we've had 4 separate superintendents, but yet we still have very, very serious problems with the decline in our physical facilities for our students. We have 3 schools that have been, portions have been condemned. We have displaced students. So it's a real serious problem that's affecting the quality of life and really eroding lots of the other elements of our community.
So I want to move from the school systems to the state severance taxes. We talked about the severance tax affecting the state budget, but it hits local budgets as well. In Boone County, you talked about those dollars, those losses. Where does that come into play for citizens? What will they see a difference in?
Well, I mean, every service that the county provides is likely to be cut in some way. In our case, we've had a transfer station, 2 transfer stations for garbage disposal, and that's on the chopping block, and we worry about the litter problem that could result from not having a place to take your garbage.
In Boone County specifically, though, do these severance tax dollars, I think they also go to senior programs?
They go to everything, basically. And again, when you go from $5.8 million a year down to less than $1 million, significant cuts and significant pain is going to happen.
Senator Laird, how about Fayette County? Where do you all see the effects of a loss in severance tax dollars?
Well, again, we've had a number of bankruptcy filings in Fayette County affecting our tax base, and our county commission, I believe, identified this potential very early on and began to make adjustments in terms of freezing additional hires of new employees at the county level. But there are a lot of cost drivers that are not really subject to control. Regional jail costs in Fayette County is over $1 million each year. So again, I think it's going to be a process of trying to anticipate the decline in revenues and make those adjustments. But very clearly it's going to impact services to our citizens throughout the county.
You know, Senator, as I travel through southern West Virginia and do stories down there, I hear a lot of people say, well, coal's going to come back. We'll get a new president and the coal industry will change. Do you agree? Do you think that's the case? Because we hear people at the legislature from power companies say, we may never see the Clean Power Plan go into place, but my company is still moving toward natural gas.
You know, I would hope that it can level off. The decline in the coal industry can level off and get a bump or two, but I don't think we're ever going to see the heydays of 2008, 2007. I think the southern coal fields overproduced what people thought they would, and so I think the diversification of the economy is so important right now. We can't have all our eggs in one basket.
Senator, economic diversification, I mean, your county is known for tourism, for whitewater rafting.
Absolutely. And again, Fayette, certainly at one time, a major coal producing county, but again, the decline in that, I think we've been able to buffer that impact somewhat with our beautiful scenery and good whitewater rafting and other amenities there that serve as a good tourism base for our county. But I think a lot of other things can be done to begin to drive the diversification of our economy, and I think that's the key to the future.
Senator, we've got less than a minute left, but I want to ask you, we're going to see a story next about a public hearing on WVU Tech moving from your district in Montgomery to Beckley. Is that a financial impact for your county as well?
Again, I think that is something that's going to be very, very difficult for the economy of the Upper Kanawha Valley. It certainly Tech has been in Montgomery since 1895. So again, it's I'm very, very concerned about the impact of that relocation and what it could mean to the community of Montgomery and the surrounding areas. So that will certainly be the product of my efforts for quite some time.
Senator Bill Laird, Senator Ron Stollings, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
For more than 120 years, the West Virginia University Institute of Technology has been located in the small town of Montgomery. But now, WVU officials are attempting to change that, moving the university to a newer campus in Beckley. The move, however, is more complicated than just shipping supplies from one campus to another. Lawmakers must approve a piece of legislation changing the school's headquarters. This morning, House Education Committee held a public hearing about House Bill 4310, which removes the requirement for WVU Tech to be headquartered in Montgomery. Opponents of the move stand by the law that was passed in 2011, saying the community with a population of 1,700 would be devastated. Supporters, including some faculty, say WVU Tech deserves to survive and thrive. Here's a look at some of today's testimony.
The conditions under which Tech flourished in the past are no longer present, and haven't been since before WVU had to step in and keep Tech viable as an institution by annually subsidizing its budget to the tune of millions of dollars. This bill is not about how to help Fayette County or the town of Montgomery. It is a much bigger issue than that, with all due respect. This is a decision about higher education in West Virginia and how best to meet the needs of a population that has the lowest proportion of college-educated adults in the entire country. The committee is fully aware of how important Tech is to the state of West Virginia. Given that importance, it is essential to pass this bill to maintain any hope that Tech will recover and thrive.
Our critical access facility, Montgomery General, is concerned about facing future nursing and staffing shortages affecting health care. Our friends, patients, and neighbors in the community will also face unemployment and economic ruin if this action is pursued. The further decline in population, increased utility costs, and increase in unemployment has the potential to deal a final blow to Montgomery General Hospital, resulting in a void in health care and even more unemployment.
As a student, there are several reasons we go to college. The two primary reasons for attending are to gain a degree, to get a good job, and to grow as a person. Students attend college to put themselves in a position to excel out in the real world. The students that are currently attending the colleges across West Virginia are the same people that will lead West Virginia to a brighter future. As we tackle the imminent challenge that is diversifying the local economy and inevitably shifting from our dependence on coal, education is the key to succeeding and making sure we improve the state on all fronts. Beckley offers a significant improvement on the college experience one can have in comparison to Montgomery. The tenfold superiority in off-campus life, such as restaurants, outdoor facilities, shopping, job opportunities, and entertainment, is just one of many reasons Beckley is the right move for the campus.
I ask you this, who will be next? Will it be Parkersburg? Will it be Potomac State? Will it be Concord, Bluefield, Fairmont State? Who will come before you next? I ask this committee respectfully to not allow this to happen. Thank you.
The university has spent tens of millions of dollars put into Tech. Those problems, those fundamental problems, however, still exist, that include $100 million worth of deferred maintenance. It is simply a situation that is not sustainable. We can no longer, as a university, as a state, and as a legislature, continue to kick this can down the road. Something has to be done now.
I can tell you for certain that an economic impact study was not done before WVU, its Board of Governors, and the Higher Education Policy Commission gave approval for the relocation. Back in the fall, I personally participated in a meeting with WVU leadership, the President of the Board of Governors, and local officials. WVU leadership was asked if an economic impact study had been done, and the answer was no. The President of the Board was asked if the Board had seen one, or during discussion, did they even ask for one? Again, the answer was no. This is one clear indication that a comprehensive process is needed, and whatever process was used is woefully lacking.
Our university is about three things, and those three things are about education, about health, and about prosperity. And this move allows us an opportunity to be able to sustain all of those and do it in a part of the state that the university has not served as well as it should, and also to make sure that we create partnerships with our colleagues in the other institutions in the southern part of the state and with Montgomery. I want to again emphasize that the city of Montgomery, as we have said on a number of occasions, this is not about abandoning a city, it's about creating a new opportunity and about us working in partnership with that city to continue to grow it and to develop it. And we will do that with the highest level of energy and integrity.
Wake up, everybody. You know, what would it, if I would say, yeah, you're going to have a job
at Montgomery if we keep this open. If it goes to Beckley, you're not going to have a job. You'd all be here today for speaking for that. I mean, it's unbelievable that you can be a bully and push the people like they have here in this legislature. You guys made the laws. It's illegal what they're doing. It's immoral, and it's near apartheid.
House Bill 4310 was approved by the House Education Committee this afternoon and now goes to the full chamber for further consideration. Tomorrow on our show, we're joined by the Executive Dean of West Virginia University Health Sciences, Dr. Clay Marsh, who will give us his take on the health-related bills lawmakers are considering this session. This has been the Legislature Today. I'm Ashton Mara. Thanks for joining us.
Support for the Legislature Today is provided by the following.
West Virginia University, online at wvu.edu. AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Online at aarp.org/WV. The West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission, working to double the degrees produced annually in our state by 2025 through increased opportunities for West Virginians to earn the credentials today's economy demands. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Online at wvhtf.org. From West Virginia Public Broadcasting.